weekend, the weekend I'm supposed to not technically do anything, and I'm sitting here for like 3 hours on the weekend still doing all this shit that I didn't get done during the week.
I am very sorry to hear that. That's actually bad. Yeah, it's brutal, man. I don't know how you do it. It's crazy. Okay, are we live, pal?
We are. I'm tweeting the link now on the Fightful account.
This could be an all-timer in terms of energy levels as we both just slowly stumble to the finish line here.
We got a big day tomorrow, tomorrow's a
I mean, that's going to be an awful show. That is one of the worst ideas you've ever... And listen, that's the amount of shitty ideas that we've rendered on this show and turned into something. When I read your tweet about that, I was like, this is even worse than I imagined. Like, are you just letting people just call in? Like, it's fucking Louis Dangle's show?
Yeah. It's not like a call-in show. So here's how it's gonna work for anybody in the chat, and JJ's here, that might be wondering how this is gonna work. It's gonna be through StreamYard. And so I will have the StreamYard link, and I will, if they wanna call in, I'll DM them the StreamYard link so they can pop on.
That's good.
And Joel Pearl is the moderator for this as well. So he's the one who will see like who's backstage and put them on screen, and they'll ask a question and I'll answer it. I also have I have hold music. It's gonna get us copyright struck on Twitch. They'll just edit it out in the post because I'm not deleting the whole video because it's gonna be however long it's gonna last. But I do have hold music. Just play at the beginning. I put a lot
Purely
of thought
just for like
into
the
this,
details
Joseph.
of it. Just for the details, the normal notice. Just to pop yourself. Okay, I'm for that.
I put a lot of thought into this, Joseph.
That's some Malachi Black shit. You just pulled there.
It's my new favorite wrestler, Malachi Black. The lore and the layers.
I'm sorry to hear that.
How dare you?
He's over, man. I ain't hating.
He is.
He's now a member of the Fleet, so I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's your guy, right?
Yeah, this is how it goes. Anyone that signs with AEW, big fan. Anyone that doesn't, loser. Dan Bryan, you've been put on notice.
JR resubscribing with the Prime. Thanks, JR.
God bless. JR was pretty hurting, I feel, after England, bless him. He really got the optimism on board,
Yeah.
I was more restrained. I feel JR threw himself into it, but
never
be
optimistic.
Talk about that here.
Never. No,
we don't need to talk about England anymore.
No. Hope those kids are doing well. That's bullshit. Stupid fans.
Oh yeah, terrible. Just fucking idiots, all of them. I mean, the thing is, I think any time that a sport is the national game, it means inevitably that means more people watching, and that just by nature means more idiots, right? Like just more dumb fucks. So that's the beauty of what we do here, Jeremy, is because wrestling's so niche, there's nothing but smart people in the crowd, right? That's how it goes, right? Nothing.
No, our
nothing
audience,
bad.
I've said this many times, our audience is dumb and they suck, Joseph.
Not our audience, I mean the wonderful people that fill these wrestling arenas. They behave themselves, they're not, high art, right?
Sure.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we'll be talking about Ring of Honor.
Joseph will be talking about Ring of Honor. Let's not lie to the people and act like I got anything to say about this show, because that would have required me to have watched this show.
There you go. We'll talk about the Ultimate Fighting Championship. We will be just sort of slowly dying a death here as the viewership dwindles while we talk about a dead territory and a dead sport. I am exhausted. I've produced 24 features in the last 4 days. Jeremy is exhausted because he produces 40 news pieces every day. You combine this and you get what you're watching now. We will try our best, folks. Okay, should I go Ring of Honor and do some work, Jeremy?
You guys are trolls. That's your whole.
Or would you like to do UFC first?
I'd rather do Ring of Honor first. I'm Crackerjack. Resubscribes 3 months. It's on 2-month streak. Thank you. I'm Crackerjack. Says hello. I'm an idiot in the chat. Yeah, man. Our audience sucks. Why are you guys watching this?
Hello, Fightful Faithful.
Hello, I'm an idiot. Rules.
Messy 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Thanks for following.
My God. Okay. Ring of Honor, folks. Honor is real. In all seriousness, I wanted to cover this, and Jeremy was very, very upset at me. And off air, he actually threatened to fire me for mentioning the honourable ones.
I did.
But I think this promotion is trying their best to rebuild, and I think it's our duty, or my duty at least, as sort of the review fuck, to talk about it. I don't know about you, Jeremy. I don't know how long online you've been today. I was on delay, so I haven't been on much, but it seems like it's a pretty positive reaction for this one. Like, people seemed like, yeah, Ring of Honor's doing okay, which is good. I'm happy for them, right?
I didn't see anybody talking about this show.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe I seeked it out. Okay.
There wasn't a single person on my timeline this morning talking about this show. I saw like a little bit last night during the show, but like this morning, and look, I fell asleep early. I was passed out by like 10:30 last night, so I was out of it quick. But yeah, when I woke up, I didn't see much about it.
Well, it was a good show. Okay, it was a night. I must say, I was pleasantly surprised to see it within the 3-hour slot, because I think their last show was 4, because it wasn't actually on like normal pay-per-view. I want to say, I think it was just like Honor Club. I want to say, or maybe they just got an extra hour. I don't know, because it's Final Battle. Whatever that meant, I forget. I get confused. But this was free, and it was good. It was nice to just watch a 3-hour pay-per-view that was a wrestling pay-per-view. I must say, it was surprising how quickly wrestling shows will go when they're just like jam-packed with pro wrestling. I know that doesn't sound appealing, Jeremy, but like, there's so much filler shit in some of these events that we watch nowadays that they feel so much longer than they are. This just had wrestling matches for the most part, so I can live with that. There was one segment that went on for a couple of years, but we'll get to that later. Okay.
I did. Yes. I thought this was going to be a 4-hour show because there was a lot of matches on this card. I guess I had an hour pre-show, but there was still like a lot of matches on this card. So I was like, oh yeah, this shit's just going to run super long. I was happy to see that it was 3 hours, and that had I decided to watch it, it wasn't going to take up my entire day.
Your analysis there was, I'm happy this is a thing that happened for saying I didn't watch. It's tremendous. Okay. Full disclosure, I did not watch the pre-show because I didn't have much time. So this was, I had to just watch the main card. Opener was very simple situation. The Briscoes are back together. I've yet to see their fart. That's not good. Fight at the farmhouse. Farm,
yeah.
Farm. Fight at the farm. There you go. Did it, guys. Anyway, I haven't seen that. I need to see it. But they're back as a team here, and basically Mecca and PJ were just like dudes for them to beat up. However, being the Briscoes, they managed to make it far the fly fun. Tremendous, yes. Everything there is one of those, right? They managed to make it exciting for what it was. There was a couple of pulse finishes I bit on down the stretch, even though we all know what's happening here. The Briscoes were just getting a win. I don't know where I'm at on Brian Johnson, the Mecca. I like him. I like his confidence. He's a good promo, but like it also feels kind of try hard. But whatever, man. Like, he's a heel, and that's heel by Ring of Honor definitions. That's fine. I can live with it. He's a good character at least. Even if this team has always been weird to me. But nonetheless, this was a pretty good pro wrestling match. And the Briscoes always bring it. They're like, you just know what you're getting from them. It will be a sad day when they like actually fall off, because to me, even though the spotlight is way dimmer and no one really talks about them, like they can still go. And I mean, even here there was an exchange at one point with Jay and Mecca that was like they were going, man. Like, it heated, and I think it's partly because they still see this as like their house, and they don't want to like take it for granted. Any big stage in Ring of Honor, big being relative, because Jeremy didn't even see anyone talk about it today, but like their biggest shows, Briscoes work like it's SummerSlam, Mania, Rumble. It is what it is, but this was a good match, and they actually convinced me at the end the Briscoes could lose, which is a feat considering the situation. Perfect teams to be back in front of live crowds. Jeremy, how good was this match, huh?
It's a good match.
Agreed. Okay. The EC3 man and the Flip Gordon. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Sometimes in wrestling, right, there's someone goes somewhere and you go, that's a strange fit. What's he going to do there? and then they prove you wrong. You know, they go there and they do these really like creative things. They reinvent themselves, and they truly belong in a territory. I'm sorry to announce that the EC3 Ring of Honor thing is currently firmly continuing down the path of my initial reaction, which was, why the fuck is EC3 Ring of Honor? This was not a bad professional wrestling match. I am not going to say that, because it was not. EC3 is sound, and he's a great character when he was not this guy, and Flip is a good pro wrestler. You know, it was fine, they eased into things, Flip chopped down the tree, this is all good. EC3 makes a comeback, big superplex, all this good stuff. It's just, it was like a rigid, mechanically sound, like WWE pay-per-view match. Very structurally safe. And it had some fire and it had some good stuff, but it's just like, this EC3 version still feels like such a work in progress. It's so, to me, like, it's like he's got an idea, but he hasn't quite done a great job of portraying it. Now, granted, listen, guys, I'm not watching the TV closely, but, like, the crowd that was there, I mean, they wanted to be with EC3, and then, like, by the end of the match, they were, like, trading chants. EC3 sucks. Let's go EC3. Like, it was just, it didn't feel like a fit. That doesn't mean it's a disaster, or it's like, you know, you can't turn it around. I'm a fan of EC3. I'm rooting for him. This just always felt odd to me, and, like, this match did not silence those doubts in my head. This made him pronounced. He just felt like such an odd fit. And then at the end, you know, EC3 goes over and Flip wouldn't shake hands and spat in his face and all that good stuff. So, not a bad match by any means. What happened?
Don't know if I'd have Flip Gordon spitting at me.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest though, pandemic or not, spit is just filth, isn't it? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not having anyone, not in the name of professional wrestling, no one's spitting at me, that's disgraceful behaviour.
Yes.
But
Very
yes,
fair.
It's also not ideal.
And I get it. You guys are
Doesn't
trolls.
help.
That's your
Our
whole
Mad Kid is back on it. Here he is. He subscribed for 4 months. God bless.
Thanks,
The old Mad Kid. EC3 already had COVID. There you go, Jeremy. Antibodies, brother. Is that how it works? This was fine. Jeremy liked it more than me. I'll speak on his behalf, but he's a big Flip Gordon guy.
Don't. Just because I interviewed the man once, let's not put all this out there.
I didn't even know that. It just sounded funny. Anyway, Shane Taylor Promotions versus 3 guys that I did not know were a team, and I'm pretty sure are not a team. Dalton Castle was one of them, Deck Draper was another, and Eli Eisen?
Yes.
That's right, that's a real name, right? Did I make that up?
No, that's right.
Good job.
I think it's Eli Isom, but yeah.
God bless. Isom.
Isom.
Okay, I said Isom. Yeah, okay, that's good. Nonetheless, the Briscoes obviously are over because they are the fucking Briscoes, but Shane Taylor Promotions entered to a big reaction here relative to the audience obviously in attendance. And you could tell the people had a response of like, I'm actually happy to see these fucks, you know, like because this act, as far as I know, is sort of formed in the pandemic era of the Ring of Honor. And let me tell you, man, this Soldiers of Savagery team, Khan and Moses, are going to make a lot of money. I mean, they're going to be World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions one day. I'm going to be quite frank with you, okay? They've got something, they've got this wonderful kind of dynamic where their look matches perfectly, but also they're completely separate in terms of style, which is a really cool thing that I think is kind of unique, to be honest with you, especially nowadays. So nonetheless, this was really, to me, about them. And just to go into that a little bit, with Khan, you've got, you know, he's dynamic, he does like a standing moonsault, he's the more sort of rangy guy offensively. Moses is a big brute. He does some cool shit, he does like a senton gimmick off the apron, but he's mostly, you know, meat and potatoes big man, which is not an insult. Speaking of such, Shane Taylor is like, he's just like the simplest wrestler ever. My God, Brett is in attendance for this. Brett's a big Ring of Honor guy, Jeremy. I appreciate him tuning in for this to help our viewership. Brett, I'm killing the territory of this shit, you know. This is not a good business decision, but I do it for the love of the business. Honor is real. Anyway, Shane
Brett,
Taylor.
Hold on.
What?
I'm not looking at the chat. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Brett
the Hitman Hart.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
He was at the ROH show last night?
No, he's in the chat.
Oh.
Yeah,
Shit.
Brett the Hitman Hart.
Oh.
Evening, Brett. Anyway, Shane Taylor is great because, as I mentioned before, his big spot, like, is him just like punching someone in the face, and I'm all for this. Like, they build to him just whacking a guy and Caprice losing his shit, And like Dalton Castle did like 15 seconds of antics, just turned around and got punched in the face, and I like exploded. It was so fun. It's just simple shit, man. And a lot of his stuff's like he does like a headbutt. He does all this cool power offense. It's great. It's just good shit. And this act has just got something, and it stands out on the show. I think there's a lot of nice pieces in this promotion. Very few of them feel as kind of complete and well formed as Shane Taylor promotion, which I think is because Shane is kind of shaping and moulding it his own way, which shines through, I think. This match, though, was effectively not only about that, it was also about Dalton Castle being sort of a dipshit. Dick Drape was a good athlete, and the other guy was there that I've already forgotten the name of. I apologise. The closing stretch was exciting. At one point, they convinced me that the other guy, the Eli Isam, was going to beat the Shane Taylor because apparently he's done it before. That was all very good. Obviously, STP keep the belts. They should be a priority, I think, moving forward, and have been what I've watched since the COVID era of the Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Shane Taylor, I mean, he got a title shot during the ROH television tapings and stuff. He was like voted on to get like a title shot. Yeah. So not too surprising to hear that he was over in this match. Seems like the ROH fans really like Shane Taylor, which is good because he's good.
He is very good. He's one of those guys that I think people dismiss because he was branded as, it's Keith Lee's partner. And he's not as dynamic as Lee. And also, physically, he's... there's nothing wrong with being a big guy, but just the way he's built is not like, he isn't built like, let me think of a big sort of Hoss type. He's just not traditionally built like that, right? So, like, guys see him and just sort of dismiss him. He doesn't do moonsaults, so he's fucked. But when you actually watch him, he knows what he's doing in there. He's very good. Anyway, speaking of guys know what they're doing, Silas Young, Josh the Goods Woods. Do you know that one, Jeremy? That's his nickname. Very good.
I get him and Josh Briggs and Josh Brindle all confused. Josh is a dumb name. Don't have that as a wrestler name. All right? Is there any good like Josh wrestlers throughout history?
I don't know. What a ridiculous question to ask me at this point in the game.
Josh Koscheck, he sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever happened to him? Did he just... Bellator just fell apart, right, when he got there? He, like, lost to a journeyman or some shit.
Did he fight in Bellator?
Oh, dude, they were supposed to do him and Daly in London. I got tickets for it, and then he pulled out.
Oh. Yeah, see, somebody says Josh Matthews. Wasn't a good
wrestler. Josh Woods is pretty good. But anyway, nonetheless, I was watching when they shot this.
Dude, Josh Koscheck lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight fights. Lost to some guy named Mauricio Alonso in Bellator.
Yeah, they tried to give him like wins and they just weren't happening.
This guy doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, not ideal. Yeah, I was kind of intrigued by this because I saw the angle. I was watching when they shot the angle for this thing, and I must say I just don't like the stipulation. And it was very plunder. And, I think there was some good energy to it. I have no issue with the match. It was fine. I don't think there was anything on the show that was bad, by the way, guys. I want to stress that. I mean, everything was fine, at worst. I did pop. Ian Riccoboni and Caprice Coleman are honestly one of the best teams. My God, Josh Alexander. Is that you on the Fightful gaming thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
was confused then.
I didn't want to interrupt your flow here, Joseph. I
appreciate that. Anyway, I think they're one of the best announced teams in wrestling, but it did pop me very much when Josh brought out like a tiny little ladder, and Ian was like, for the lighting rig, that's what it's there for, folks. Don't get confused here. No funny business allowed around here, folks, let me tell you. And then Josh pulled out like the 8th table of the match. So here we go. It was a good effort, though. I'm all for that kind of thing. Nonetheless, they did this little narrative where every time Josh would set something up, the veteran would actually use it. And then in the end, they built to... he just German suplexed him through 2 tables, and like it kind of felt... We're so desensitized to this shit now that it kind of felt like a flat finish. But in the Ring of Honor verse, like, it's a pretty big deal. Like 2 tables and all that good stuff. There was one funny moment, however, when the audience demanded that Josh stack the tables, and he looked at them with a smile and they just didn't stack the tables. And they were very upset and they booed. To be fair, stacked tables are infinitely better than non-stacked tables. Also, there was actually a great point here where Josh snatched a submission, and Silas, because he couldn't use the bottom rope, just did a wonderful sell job. I think Silas Young is such a good pro, man. And I know he's another guy, like, because he's been there for so long and no one talks about him, but he's very, very good. Jeremy.
Joseph.
Have you ever signed Silas Young in TW?
Cannot say that I have.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So
He's definitely a guy that stats would suck unless you edit them too, right?
probably
40
yeah.
promo, 60 basics. Here we go. I felt like this one up next was the audience's main event, as weird as that sounds. And it's not because it was the best match. It felt like the one that had the big fight feel to me, which was the Brody King and the Jay Lethal. People were with this from the start. Jay Lethal wore a singlet and then brought the straps down after legitimately 90 seconds, which is one of the strangest choices stylistically I've seen. But there you go. They started with lethal injection. Brody kicked out 1. He then did 4 dives. Brody was still standing. Then from there, it's clear what they were telling. This Brody King is unbeatable. And they did not do the thing where they did it half-heartedly, like Brody's dominated and he slips on an appeal. No. He just kicked the shit out of Lethal. And it resulted in all these awesome strike exchanges and chop, back and forths, where it was so obvious that Lethal was outmatched. Listen, I think Brody should be a long-term fit in Ring of Honor, and again, another guy's a priority. But dude, this guy should make a lot of money in Japan, right? I mean, Brody King, I'm sure that's what he believes, and that's what I believe too. I mean, this guy, he hits hard, he has a presence, and then he's finished twice in between, signaling to the camera and saying, "This motherfucker is a dead man," which indeed he was. Brody King won, clean as a sheet, flat in the middle, and then did a handshake with the corpse of Jay Lethal afterwards because honor is real. He's fucking
awesome.
Yes, he legitimately hit him with his finish twice and then stood over him and shook his lifeless hand. It was tremendous.
I saw you post a GIF or a video of this.
Yes.
And I like Jay Lethal as a wrestler, and Brody King, he's good as well. Maybe I'll watch this match. I'm not gonna. I probably shouldn't lie. I'm probably not gonna watch it.
No.
But it sounds.
But if you were to watch anything, this was the one you'd enjoy. Yeah.
Okay.
Cut and dry, simple action, clear story, and just a big guy kicking the shit out of another guy. Okay, John Gresham, Mike Bennett. I have to say that when I saw this one on the old graphic a few weeks ago when it was announced, I was very confused. Mike did not strike me as a man of purity, but then as I saw the video package here, I realised they were telling a story with that, and it was actually a decent one. I think they've done a really good job of doing sort of sports-centric narratives around the pure title from what I've seen. I still didn't watch the Yehai match from a couple of weeks ago, but nonetheless. What I'm about to say, with love in my heart, okay? Mike Bennett was good in this match, and Mike Bennett is a good professional wrestler. However, this match was the ultimate John Gresham show, in which he showed you every pure rules trick and antic, every little piece of psychology that he has established over the last nearly year. It was like the work. He was like, here is the John Gresham show. And I can't stress this enough. Bennett belonged because he's a well-trained, sound pro wrestler, and I'm glad he's landed in Ring of Honor and is being treated well. I like the guy. Please don't take this as a criticism. Jonathan Gresham, with these pure rules, is one of the most interesting professional wrestlers in the world right now. I cannot stress this enough. The man's ideas are unique. They stand alone. He's thinking in a way that truly gets you as a viewer thinking, which is very rare these days. Everyone follows the same damn textbook. And just so, there was one great spot where he grabbed a submission and Bennett goes to the outside to escape it. And rather than just letting go, Gresham forces him back inside so he has to grab the rope to waste one of his rope breaks. Stuff like that rewards your attention to detail. You can't just switch off and come in for the finishing stretch. It's wonderful. And then to kind of just conclude it as I think probably the match of the night. In fact, definitely my match of the night. They had this wonderful false finish where I lost my shit because Bennett hit the pole driver. And it wasn't that Gresham got his foot on the rope, it was that his foot was just under it. And it was a mistake from Bennett that cost him the whole match. I really bit on that. They actually did the 3 count and then he waved it off kind of deal. And for a second there, man, I was like, holy shit, Bennett just beat Gresham. That seems bad. But he did not beat Gresham. And then Gresham did some awesome submission where he bent the knee and all this cool stuff. He wins. He should have this belt for the longest time. And I've got to say, and I mean this with love to Bandito, Roosh, wonderful performers, there is a time here to do something. And in my view, I'm all for variety being the spice of life, but there is a story to be told with John Gresham saying, you know what, this has been great, and I'm not giving it up anytime soon. I want to go purify the title. That's how I'm going to change this promotion. Now, listen, guys, I'm not watching the weekly Brett. We're no better than I watches the TV. But to me as a fan, when you look at how loaded the wrestling landscape is, I just think there's something to building the territory around him. And they already are. Look, he's a big part of TV. The foundation is integral. But there's something here, man. And it's something that, like, an AEW can't even produce. An Impact certainly can't produce. It is unique, this style of match. I don't know. I like this a thing, full stop. I just wonder if they can extend it a little bit. But tremendous match here. This was the actual best match of the night, Jeremy. But it's a little bit longer than I think you'd enjoy.
See, I like Jonathan Gresham, though.
Yes.
I really like Jonathan Gresham. Not super.
And I get it. You guys
Bennett.
are trolls. That's your whole gimmick.
Mike Bennett. Sorry, I didn't even call him by the proper name. That's all.
Definitely not high on him.
Yeah. And to me, like, this seemed like a weird styles clash because you don't think of Mike Bennett as like that kind of wrestler. But he kind of held his own in this one. Sounds like
He did a good job. I mean, like, the thing is, he wasn't trying to, like, beat Dean Malenko, you know?
Right.
Or a good wrestler, for that matter. He was just, he was being Mike Bennett, adapting his game, which was the story they were trying to tell. And in the video package, Jeremy, they kind of silenced that doubt, which I had the same as yours, which was Gresham was like, I know you're not really a pure wrestler, bro. Like, you're a dog. Which rules. I'm all for this. This shit's good, man. This shit stands alone against any other promotion. I'm all for it. Dragon Lee, Tony Deppen. I love this Tony Deppen character, man. I love it. Just roughhouse, gritty, and I love the way that his kind of whole vibe matches the way he wrestles. It's in your face, you know. Like, he's not this athletically gifted guy. He's a guy who gets stuck in and goes back and forth. This match isn't really my style because this is legitimately like just a collection of moves in which they beat the shit out of each other. However, it was the perfect follow-up after Pure Rules because, frankly, that match had made you think, and this match allowed you to just sit there and go, well, holy shit, because they just beat the hell out of each other. You know, fiery exchanges, they were hitting so damn hard. And there was one point, Jeremy Lambert, where Tony Deppen did like a dive, which he then turned into a Canadian destroyer on the floor, which is something I've never seen before. I don't know if that's what it was supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be a sunset bomb, whatever the fuck. But Dragon Lee just took on his head, so it was in fact a destroyer. Not Canadian, though. That wouldn't make much sense because there's no Canadian involved. Anyway, every move here was well executed. I just, sometimes with this stuff, like, I wish it could breathe a little bit. You know, there was one point where they did the German suplex spot back and forth. It's a little much for me, but I get it. I'm an old man. Nonetheless, in the end, it was very much framed as great as Deppen is, Dragon Lee, you know, he kicked the shit out of him. He was just surviving, and he put him away with the incinerator, I believe they called it, which looked good. Deppen called it on, tried to block it, still got knocked out. Dragon Lee is the TV champ once again. I mean, look, I think maybe I'm talking out of turn here, guys, but I think Dragon Lee is perhaps the most sort of revered talent globally on this whole roster. So I think anytime you're featuring him in a big spot, you're probably doing the right thing, right, Jeremy? He's a guy that has real kind of cachet across the globe, right, Dragon Lee?
yes, sure.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, tag titles: the Homicide and the Dirty Dickinson against John Gresham, who had just wrestled 20 minutes about 15 minutes ago, and Rhett Titus. Sorry, I was getting confused as who pulled out there. Poor Tracy had a car crash, didn't he? Bless him. Love to Tracy. He looked well. I just don't think he could actually wrestle. He wasn't like, you know, he was there in attendance. This was the fight without honour, and it was indeed that. I mean, this was just a hoop. This was exactly what you'd expect. Homicide got the fork out. They did this weird deal where, like, the last match, they were kind of being dicks to Deppen. Violence Unlimited made a save, and then like that just transitioned into the match, which fit the rules. To be honest, it made sense for the branding. But they really just kicked the shit out of each other. The highlight of the match, by far, was when they opted to do a table bump, but did not give the poor young lady who was playing timekeeper time to get out. So she was just stuck like behind the table with like the belts in her hands. Like, I should probably move, shouldn't I? And then Homicide just like fell through the table and died. And then I believe Homicide shouted, "I hate you, motherfucker," which is indeed the case. He also at one point when he had the fork said, "I'm gonna stab this motherfucker," which is indeed, he didn't actually do it, which was a shame. But they brawled, they did some plunder, some weaponry. Homicide still, like, look, he's not what he was. and I think he's got himself in good shape this run because Ring of Honor means a lot to him. But he's obviously not what he was. But he's still a guy that when the people were there and if they give any kind of shit, which to be fair, they were kind of down for this one, I thought, because they're just a little bit tired. But he finds a gear and he has some fun with it. I mean, he nearly killed Gresham with the fucking cop killer, dude. He killed him with it. It was incredible. I mean, it's just such a deadly move, but it was fine. I'm really happy to see Homicide with the belts and just back being treated as to me what he is, which is like he's a standout of his generation. Man. He's a legend. He's a guy that when people just look at the work, they'll be in awe of some of the shit he did. But 15 years later, after being world champion or winning the world, yes, he won at the end of 06. You got the timeline here. It's good to see him back on the horse having fun in the honourable territory. Good match, liked it. Up next, Paul Maria.
It's a shame Homicide has returned to the NWA as well.
He was always getting paid there. He was an agent, wasn't he, before?
Yeah, but
if he's going to be there, Jerry, he might as well at least wrestle. Better than watching the fucking show.
Is it?
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, definitely. Because if you're on it, you can't watch as much of it. It's much better.
But like you're going out there and taking bumps and doing all this stuff for an audience.
Dude, I actually saw, because I follow him on Instagram or whatever, I saw he did the toe pake on Hilo.
See?
I'm sorry to say that. Yeah, that's wrong.
You're just better off. You're just better off watching the show.
You're right. And there's no like mats on the outside of those rings either. It's just like their studio floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Maria Kanellis had an announcement. As everyone knows, this was Chelsea Green. And poor Maria, she was obviously informed. Listen, we have the main event upcoming. Can you get your message out there quick? So she talked very quickly, only to introduce Chelsea Green, who did what I believe was, by my count, a 50-minute promo before the main event of this match. It was the same though. Listen, I don't mind these promos, but like,
I heard she's free. She doesn't have.
Yeah, this is the thing that I did think was disappointing. Is the video was the whole hot mess thing and the bride. It's like. Chelsea's like such a good characterist. Like she feels like she shouldn't be the one that does this shit to me. Like she's just like a normal person, and she's like, now I'm gonna prove them. Like, but she's also injured, so she can't wrestle. She's gonna sit there and watch. Not the best. Like, look, I'll say this: this show was a good show, but like I think everyone had this sense there was gonna be surprises, and the surprise being Chelsea Green's gonna sit in the crowd from now on is probably not what they were looking for. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel she's a wrestler that needs a gimmick. I think she's a gimmick wrestler. This new thing where she's just Chelsea Green, like lady wrestler, is I feel not
the
the best.
mess is the gimmick, Joseph.
But she didn't have when she was the hottest before, she was like she looked like a lunatic, right? She had the makeup and all the deal. She just is now Chelsea Green, which is fine.
Now she's just sexy wrestler Chelsea Green.
Well, you said that, I didn't. But
that's what she says. All right,
She didn't say this promo. She said she was free. By the way, it was really funny. She walks out in front of the first crowd, Ring of Honor have had since the pandemic. She goes, "So this is what freedom looks like, huh?" And for about legitimately 30 seconds, I was like, "Why the fuck is she talking about the pandemic? What's going on here? Is this a political statement?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, the WWF. Of course it is the WWF." Yeah, look, I'm going to see it sucked, and it went on too long. And it set you up in that position where you was like, okay, now we'll get back to the match,
I didn't see it. I knew it was Chelsea and everything, and I listened to her podcast this morning explaining everything. I didn't realize how long it went on, but it seemed like it's just a thing of like, you just bring her out there, she says a couple lines, and then I don't even know if she needs to like say anything. Just come out there and you just kind of...
she did though. Yeah. She didn't say a couple lines. She said much more than a couple.
I know she wanted to wrestle, but there was the injury. She made it seem like the tournament was going to start on this show.
Yes, she did. Yeah.
But because she couldn't wrestle, the tournament didn't start on this show, which that's a decision,
Yes, it was framed as though after all of that talking, it was still unclear who was actually taking the place in the tournament because she's not, apparently. She's just going to watch. So there's a vacancy.
No, she's wrestling in the tournament.
Is she? She was like, I'm going to take a seat in the front row and get a look at everyone, and then I'll join eventually.
I thought.
See what I'm saying? This is the confusion. This is the issue when you do that long of a promo. That's what I don't know.
It said that she was wrestling Mandy Leon in the first round.
Okay, well, there you go. So I guess the tournament starts on the 31st.
Yeah.
So,
it seems like she'll be kind of healed.
By the way, can I just say, right? I was on the Impact stream with the Joel Pearl and Steven Jensen. And I honestly felt like an alien on that show. This is tremendous because no one agrees on whether she's in the tournament or not. Brett's the Ring of Honor. He's in the office.
Is it? So she's not in the tournament? It said she was in the tournament.
Listen, I don't know. Brett's got the book. He would know. Here's the deal, okay? What was I talking about? Everyone just assumed she was going to Impact, and I was sitting there thinking, I swear she's said in like every interview she wants to do Ring of Honor.
I think she's taking the spot of Vita Von Starr.
She was supposed to be, yeah.
Oh, but she's not?
We don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Some people think so. Brett doesn't.
The fact that it's this confusing seems like an issue.
As well. Okay, anyway, who gives a fuck? I don't. Anyway, what was we talking about? Wrestling. Yeah. She's going to do it, apparently. Bandito, Roosh, main event. Okay, she's not there long term. Okay,
yeah, she said, I don't know if she's there long term, but she said on her podcast that she wasn't signed exclusively anywhere.
Yeah, okay. But she did say in many interviews, right, she wanted to work Ring of Honor, right? So,
yeah. She's going to wrestle for Ring of Honor. Whether or not it's like in the tournament.
She's made that clear. It would be great if she just sat in the ground and then just left. That'd be I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't know. This could be the end of my career. I don't know. Like I get that Roosh is like good, but like, is he good? Is he truly good, or like is he just sort of like he has elements that are good? Because at some point, I would just like him to one time not do stuff on the floor. I know it's psychologically sound because he knows Todd will never DQ him and that's the story. I understand. But I would personally prefer he not do 5 minutes of work on the outside where he like gets like a wire and hits the guy with it. Then again, I'm simply built different. There was a whole lot of that here. There was a jump start, a lot of stuff at ringside. Bandito, he flurried with some dives. It kind of fell apart at some point. There was a 2 that looked like a 3. There was some clunkiness where they were waiting for each other. All of it's obviously physically impressive. I just didn't think there was any connective tissue, unfortunately. There was an impressive table spot where the table like exploded, and this feels increasingly common now. What are they doing at these tables, Jeremy? You're an insider. What the fuck are they doing at these things? Why do they all blow up nowadays? Didn't they just use a break in the middle once upon a time? The business has changed. Anyway, they did some cool shit, and then Roosh kicked out of his finish only to get rolled up 50 seconds later by pulling the mask. Which I thought was a choice. He probably could have just pinned him with his finish. It was also a shame that when he got hit by the finish, which is that cool move where he like... I can't even explain it. If you've seen it, if you know, you know. Push his head. He did that thing, and Roosh did the classic, like, he looked at the referee, like, and he just split it. It was very sad. This match for was good. I just was left, like, empty by it. Then afterwards, they did a post-match, and they seemed to tease some sort of dissension within LFI because I believe Dragon Lee was unsure as to whether or not to continue to kick the shit at Bandito. But, like... instinctually, when you do a heel beatdown that close after a world title change, I assumed someone was coming out. I actually got ready for the final countdown to play, live at the Honor Arena, and instead no one came out. They're just like, thank you, good night. That was the end of the show. So, this was a good show. I didn't like the ending, but every match on here was at least solid. Most were good, and I think a couple were, like, great. I'm really happy for Ring of Honor that they're getting some some positive press. I think they handled COVID very admirably, especially in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
I know they've got a lot of skeletons in their closet. Every territory does, but like they certainly did a good job with that. And I think there's a lot of pieces here, talent-wise, that they can really focus in on and do a good job. I'm not going to repeat myself because everyone's bored anyway, but I think it is pivotal. Absolutely pivotal that they do the right thing when they get back here to what this whatever their structure is going to be when things get back to normal is so important. Because before the pandemic, they were basically running events on Honor Club that then they would clip up and put on TV. The only problem with that it appeared that none of the wrestling world knew they were running events, let alone have Honor Club. When you tell people you subscribe to Honor Club, it's like you've broken into some sort of room privately, you know? They've got to do a better job of getting those out there, because I do think an event-centric product is the way for them. I've said it 1,000,001 times. The TV, you can provide that content with clips, but I just don't know if you're ever going to climb the ladder with that TV. It's so difficult. And the other thing is, because it's their Sinclair own, they have to encourage you to watch it on your like local whatever the fuck. But in reality, like, no one seems to realise you can just get it for free on ROH.com. Like, maybe they should push that to get it to me. I don't know, guys. I don't know what the answer is. The truth is, they're never probably going to be the number one. They don't need to be. None of us are asking for that. But I just think there's ways they can shape this system to make it a more sort of successful one. But nonetheless, look, I think there's a lot of good here. I think in Gresham they've struck gold with him as pure champ. I like the gang warfare because I think all the factions are good. I'm all for it, man. It was a good show. I like the show. Thumbs up from me, thumbs up from Jeremy. God bless. There you go. Okay. Let's see if the chat's got anything. My God, lots of fantasy booking about the Roosh and others going to the AEW.
So, I thought there was going to be a bigger
Daniel
surprise than Chelsea Green. I don't know if it was going to be Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
but
that's what I thought too.
I definitely thought there was going to be a bigger surprise. I kind of thought like Andrade was just going to show up because, I thought Andrade was always going to go to ROH before he went to the All Elite Fleet. But I definitely thought they had something bigger up their sleeve than this. And like the fact that they didn't, a little worrisome. I don't know. Like,
the thing is though, this is what we have to discuss, right? One of my articles tomorrow, Jeremy, is about the free agent pool. And I do think it's very exciting. I think like when even these guys that you don't think a lot of, right? I think they can be players elsewhere, and that raises the standard. But for Ring of Honor specifically, we're trying to do this pure product. And if you don't believe us, look at how we react to the EC3. It feels like a wrong fit.
Yeah.
Who is the ones they need to be looking? We obviously Buddy Murphy. We all agree. Like if they could get him, you cut your arm off. But I don't think they're getting Buddy Murphy on. But unfortunately,
they couldn't get him for this show anyway.
But like what I'm saying is like, if we take him off the board, they could get him, right? But if we take him off the board,
no, they couldn't get him for this show. Is what I'm saying.
No, but like,
in general, yes, yeah.
What free agent can they reasonably get that would actually fit their product? Indeed. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Alexander Wolf? Killian Dane? I think Wolf could honestly be a fit there. Like, is this the most buzzworthy name and
that's
everything?
Good talent. Yeah, that's good talent. But it's hard. Unless you're getting, for them, unless basically it's just Buddy. Because everyone else, I just don't even think it makes any sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. Kurt Stallion's a good one. The thing is with Kurt Stallion is, like, people seem to just think he's, like, not signing anywhere. And, like, he's just going to kind of float about and then go back. So.
I thought they had something. They just had something more cooking.
Dude, look at these names. Fucking incredible own here in the chat. Everyone just suggests just names that would not move any. Now, Chris Hero was actually there.
Yeah, he was
backstage.
Chris Hero.
He's obviously not a big name. He is one that everyone that's like vaguely interested in Ring of Honor will be like, okay, you do John Gresham, Chris Hero, pure rules.
Is Hero gonna wrestle again? Like, he was released last year. And
he's gonna wrestle.
I think he's gonna wrestle too, but like, he's been off for a while.
He didn't want to wrestle in the pandemic.
I guess.
No, it's actually like I think he said as much. Like he's built different.
More power to him if that's the case.
Then. Yeah. Incredible names coming in the chat here. Fuego, Fandango.
Fandango.
Tough, man.
Like there ain't a lot of. I get there ain't like a ton of needle movers.
It's good talent. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Like, do these guys like fit their product or whatever? We're so used to them being WWE-ified that it's tough to see. Tough to see how some of these guys fit in. I just thought they had somebody, even if it was just an AEW guy coming in for like a night. I thought they had just like something.
Being honest, whether it's AEW, whatever it is, the answer is a partnership of some kind.
Yeah.
It appears that New Japan has kicked them out of bed. You know, they slept together for many years, but apparently, without telling them, they've just kicked them out, and there's a new couple fellas in there. So, I don't know what they do in that regard. That seems less than ideal. That they were once the exclusive partner of New Japan Pro Wrestling, now they're like the third down partner of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know how you pivot from that. Seems bad, but I've pulled up Fightful.com's free agent list, which is a very useful tool. While I would like them to sign Too Cold Scorpio, I sense he is not the answer to these problems. I like Daivari and Nice a lot. I think they're guys that would be good additions, unquestionably. Let me have a look here. I'm scrolling. Davey Boy's going back to NXT, right? Or WWE, whatever the fuck.
That's the rumor.
Just incredible. Not sure. I'd probably avoid Lars Sullivan. Yeah, some interesting names here, Jeremy. Some interesting names. Okay, look, I mean, I've just looked at the list, and yeah, I'm not really forgetting anyone. That's what I'll say.
Again, I thought they had some type of partnership worked out. Whether it be AEW, whether it be something with like Impact that somebody shows up. I thought they were gonna have somebody show. And maybe because we've been so spoiled during this past few months with this stuff kind of happening that it was to be expected. Maybe it's just ROH isn't. They just ain't at the table, right? Like you said, like New Japan.
I think that's fine though.
They couldn't have NWA show. Where was Nick Aldis to show up?
That's the thing. I think they're better off because the thing is, if it's not a needle movie, it's not like they just need bodies. Like some of these guys have really good matches, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like they're in a unique position to me. Like for an Impact, okay. Like, I'll give you an example. I could see a guy like Mojo Rawley really doing something interesting in Impact, because he strikes me as a charismatic guy who's a little bit weird, you know. And I could see him being interesting there. Ring of Honor don't want to sign him. Like it's just a weird fit. So when I said Tony Nese, and I like Tony Nese, I think he'd be a good addition. But at the end of the day, they've got guys that have good matches. They just do. So it's a difficult situation. I'll ask you this though, Jeremy. For the industry, is it better if Buddy Murphy goes here?
As opposed to
The All
AEW?
Elite, yeah. Or even Impact, because let's be honest, Impact's like... I just feel like he would just go there and like have matches with Trey Miguel in the undercard while everyone talks about their next generation of guys that never get elevated.
Nah, I don't want him in Impact.
No one does.
No. I think...
Like, would it be good if he went to Ring of Honor for the industry?
I think it'd be good. But like Buddy's probably not moving. Maybe Buddy can.
Brooks is on their roster, right? Adam Brooks is on their roster, right? Brett, is he still here? Is he in the roster, Adam Brooks?
I
don't know. That's like Buddy's like best pal, protege.
I think Buddy would be good. I mean, he'd be good in AEW. He'd be good in AEW, but we've talked about him. Like he'll have just great TV matches and stuff. It's like where's your hierarchy in AEW? And he's probably just like a nice little mid card guy for them.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it?
Like ROH, you can go there and he could actually be a top guy for them. And
yeah, and the question then becomes: is that better? Like this is where it gets difficult. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'm Crackerchat's wrong when he says he doesn't bring their relevancy up. Like,
But
I think you're kind of dismissing like how low in relevance they are. That's all I'd say. I'm correct because like, to be quite frank, if Bud Murph had a match with like Bandido, and it produced 2 GIFs that made it on our timeline, that would be an uptick in relevance from where they're at now. Like, I'm just being real, man. Like the TV is like when you watch the television, it's so hard to find any conversation about it online.
There is none. I had somebody message me today of she was wondering where she could watch the pay-per-view last night, and he was just like, yeah, I don't actually watch their TV, but it seems like there might be some surprises tonight, so I was going to watch it. And then today she's like, oh, that was a good show. I'd like to watch their TV. How do I watch their TV? And I was like, I think like their website is typically the best. Like I think episodes usually go up on like Sundays, but no one knows all this stuff. I told you, like when I woke up this morning, like I was online at like 6:00 this morning listening to this Chelsea Green podcast, and there was nothing about it. And this is only 7 hours after the show had ended. I didn't see anything on my timeline
That sucks
about it. Like the one thing I saw was from you. I saw the Brody the Brody King video. Like that's what I saw from the show, and I saw the finish of the Roosh and Bandito match. I saw the roll up finish. Those are the only 2 highlights I saw from the show.
Yeah, it's a shame, and that's the thing is like Buddy Murphy's no needle mover. He's not some big draw, but like, I mean, in fear of being dismissive, he's a guy that people know. You know, like they might not buy a pay-per-view for him, but at least they know the fuck he is. It's difficult, man. You're going upstream here with this stuff. It really is hard. I'm not trying to be, critical or dismissive. I'm just being honest. It's a challenge. With Buddy Murphy, I look at it and I think, could he do for this promotion? Could he sort of have like an expanded version of what he did with 205 Live?
Yeah.
Where he was kind of the ace. I don't know. I don't know if that goes well with their audience. I haven't got a clue. I'm just trying to think of ways they can climb a little bit. Not even become a player, just climb a little bit up the ladder.
I mean, again, who out there is like a needle mover that's been released? Like people,
both guys that even their relative, they've gone now, right? Andrade.
Braun's the guy
and
left,
Black.
and you ain't having Braun in Ring of Honor.
Exactly. Imagine, bro.
But I mean, that's the one guy who's left, right? Like.
Yes. And if we're being honest, Braun is a bigger deal than like Andrade in terms of pure metrics, right?
Yeah.
Black seems to have his own like fan base, maybe not him, but it's hard. It's difficult. What are you going to do? Look, as it is, it's a good product and it sustains itself because it's content for Sinclair. God bless.
JJ says Danielson. I mean, obviously, but
right. But I think we're all kind of.
I don't know. Man. I don't think Brian's gonna go back here and be like, yeah, let me just work full time with Ring of Honor again. This is what I'm reduced to. If he really loves this business, that's what he would do. But, he's a coward who doesn't actually love the business, just like saying things.
He talks about saying off air.
No.
Okay. I think we're done with Ring of Honor.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Dude, how great was it when Conor McGregor just got the shit kicked out of him? I ain't even gonna do the professional respect to the fighters and
real quickly
just fucking loser.
Real quickly, Throwback resubscribed for 1 month. I think we missed this. Apologies. Resubscribed for 1 month, 7 months for Throwback. Appreciate you. I said you guys are awesome. Both of you. I can't read. Both of you are extremely kind and caring people. I'm excited for the future on here and happy to see it. Thanks to Jeremy for being in the tournament. I don't know anything about this tournament. Thanks, guys, for being supportive and being awesome. Bennett and ROH fits like a glove. I didn't see it. I still disagree. Hitman Punk resubscribed with the Prime. 2-month streak. He says, I don't know if he said anything. He didn't say anything. But thank you, Hitman Punk. He just says, re-upping for the love of this business. Also, all this Connor slander we're about to spread. Yeah. So, I was a little disappointed how the fight ended because, these fights, you want to see them have, an emphatic ending, right? You know what I mean? You want to see them kind of go, and, you don't... I was going to say you don't want to see anybody, get their ankle snapped like that, but when it was Conor McGregor and his post-fight stuff, I was like, fuck this guy. I don't feel bad for him at all. I'm going to be objective here to start and say I thought he was doing well to start the fight. He came in with his karate stance. He opened with the spin kick, which is how he typically opens his fights. That he hasn't opened recently because he's trying to be a boxer. I thought he was doing well, and then it's literally the first time Dustin tagged him, he just he looked shook, right? He backed up and he looked shook, and then Dustin kind of hit him with a little combo, and Conor was grappling. He went into clinch, and then he got taken down, and Dustin just beat the shit out of him on the ground and everything. And it looked Conor survived. It didn't seem like he was close to stuff, but he was definitely hitting him with some good shots and everything. I do think it's a little presumptuous, he would have been stopped at the end. His ankle snapped, and that's why he fell at the end of the round, right? If his ankle doesn't snap, does he get knocked down? Does he go down like that? Probably not. They probably just kind of stare at each other for the final 10 seconds, and that's the end of the round. And who knows what happens in rounds 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. I do think, though, that like the fact that Dustin just seemed like unfazed by what Conor was doing, and the first time he even like kind of pressed forward and waited and kind of caught him, and Conor reacted the way he didn't, and then getting the shit kicked out of him on the ground, didn't bode well for Conor in the upcoming rounds had his ankle not snapped.
Indeed. We spoke about this in depth, this fight, which is very rare.
I wrote 1,000 words on it.
You did. But like we very like on this podcast, just like didn't talk about a fight for that long. But
yeah,
let alone one of us write about it. Here's the thing: we hit this idea. What happens if Dustin no longer fears Conor? Right?
Yes.
Sean Burby just gifted this up to Dan. Top man, Sean. We appreciate it, my friend.
Thanks,
Dan,
Sean.
please thank Sean. He rules. And we kind of touched on this as like a double-edged deal, right? So like on one side, maybe he unlocks Conor as a counter striker, but I referenced this, and I think as soon as I said it, it popped you. Like the idea that now that someone isn't scared or frozen in fear striking him, he may just like all of the holes in Conor's striking, the defensive holes, just suddenly leak, you know? Because the guy isn't letting him fight at his own pace. They're all over him. And man, we only saw about 30 seconds of it, but it was there, right? I mean, like, you said it. And anyone that thinks he wasn't shook by that, dude, he pulled a guillotine, like,
yes,
immediately after. He clinched, got muscle to the fence, and then grabbed the guillotine. Like, he unraveled. And you know the thing with the kicks, right? That was a big narrative coming into the fight, right? Was this the kicks? And, like, I agree, it was a good thing to throw kicks. But it very much reminded me of when, like, Mike at the end of his career, someone, like, the talk before the fight would be, can Mike, like, jab again, like he used to in the 80s? And he would come out and, like, jab for a one round and then just, like, you know, be fucked. He was just, like, he was doing it because that was what he was supposed. It gave me those vibes. Like, he was throwing so many kicks.
Yeah,
like, being
it was...
so, like, showy about it, you know?
Yes. It did feel that way. I agree with you. Like, I was like, okay, good. Like, he's utilizing him again. But he was... You're right. You're right about the term, like, showy. It just felt like, I'm going to do this to just show that I can still do it and prove that I can still do it, instead of actually having, like, a purpose behind them. And that was kind of the issue. Is like, it didn't seem like there was real purpose behind these kicks. Because before, when he would throw them, it was a lot of, like, range-finding stuff, and also to throw off rhythm and everything. But it was so excessive with this that it just felt like he was just throwing them for the sake of throwing them, and I don't think they had much of an impact in that regard. Like, it was good to see him throw them again, but I don't think it actually accomplished what him and his fans were kind of hoping it accomplished. It was, dude, I go back to that little exchange. Seeing him shook like that, because Conor, especially, you know, before Khabib really cracked him, like, he had a good chin, right? He'd never been knocked out. Dustin was the first person to knock him out, and he'd always been such a great counter striker and stuff. Like, just to see him get touched once, I don't even think Dustin, like, the shot didn't even, like, wasn't like a big shot or anything, but the way he reacted, just, it gave me the vibe of just like, oh man, this guy is just, like, now scared to get hit, and probably not good if you're an MMA fighter, if you're scared to get hit.
It's just gone, man. Like, it's just... You could just see in his whole demeanour, like, all week he was trying to convince himself he was still that dude. And, like, you see the doubt immediately present when that shit happened, you know? Like, it's just... It was a sight. It was. And, like, I'm not a fan, so I enjoyed it. I think Dustin's great. I loved his post-match interview. I thought it was tremendous. And, man, we're writers, Jeremy Lambert. Very rarely in life are you gifted a metaphor or some symbolism as straightforward as Conor sitting on his back shouting while a dude's just like, okay, bro. I mean, that was some serious, like, that really encapsulated so many ideas, just that image.
Yeah.
It was like, how far has this dude literally fallen? Like, I mean, he is just and like, by the way, guys, look, he gave a shit interview while his leg had been broke. They should never interview him. I get all that stuff. But at the same time...
Yeah, but he wanted that interview.
Yeah,
like,
and this is the thing, is you can't ignore the, like... That was a moment. If you want to pretend it wasn't, you're lying to yourself. It was a moment, man.
Yeah.
Like, that was a clear sign of, like, wow, this shit's really falling apart for him. You know, like, you're watching him melt down in front of you. It was crazy.
It was... You could see it... You're right. Like, leading up to the fight, like, his comments. The way... It was the same way with the Khabib fight, though, right? Like, when he goes, like, that personal on stuff, like to me it shows like, oh yeah, this guy, like, he just ain't there. Like he's actually worried about this shit, that he has to go like full personal with Diggs to try to get in their head, because he wasn't doing this shit with like Aldo and stuff, right? Like with Aldo, he'd like snatch the title and he'd just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna knock him out in one round. He's like, I'm not scared of whatever. Like he wasn't attacking Aldo's like family or anything. I mean, he probably said some shit about Brazil because that's what Conor is, but it didn't feel like it was to this level. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Lowbrow, yeah, I think is the point. This felt like the lowest. Like, he was like, he just was the only thing he could possibly point. It felt like he was projecting too, because of all the shit that surrounds his name in that regard.
Right.
He's just, to be quite frank, Jeremy, I have to say this. We need to stop making these guys, like, he's a great fighter. We all get way carried away trying to frame these guys as like geniuses of mental warfare, Yeah. No, he's a loudmouth piece of shit, and he made a fool of himself, Stop doing that. I understand we all love it, and we have fun with the great Ali documentaries, and he's such a myth and a legend. But, like, we don't need to try and frame everyone in that same way. Like, the reality is, he was a wholly dislikable, unlikable character that through victory convinced people he was actually very charming and living the American dream. And then, like, as soon as things... he's made a fool of himself. And by the way, here's the other thing. I want to say this, because I had touched on this last week, but I tweeted a lot because I was a little bit out of my mind on Saturday night. Bro, like, all of these blue tickers that supposedly stand for shit, that are still rocking with Conor every time he fights, how full of shit are you guys? How full of shit? Every time there's a social matter, like, you're the first one to get your little, like, PR statement out there, but it's still like, yeah, I rock with Conor, though. What the fuck? What is this? That's just my take on it. Being real. And by the way, it's not me attacking anyone. I love Finn Balor. He's one of them.
He's Irish, right? Exactly.
Bro, Irish people don't fuck with Conor. Just the celebrities do. They're done with him, man. They don't care about it's.
They still
obviously some do, but what I'm saying is, like, it really weirds me out how that's just like ignored. Yeah, Becky obviously she did like the narrative. Bro, here's real talk, okay? And I don't even want to say this because I think it's really cool that Becky's a big enough celebrity to get that spot. Imagine a pro wrestler with his rap sheet, like if you took his life and give it to a pro wrestler. Imagine Becky doing a like narration for that dude's show. Do you imagine the dialogue, Jeremy? But because he's a cage fighter, it's just like he's like, well, yeah, but he's he's an animal, but he's so entertaining, right? What a great showman. What are we doing here? Like, why are we letting this all just come under one web? No, he's a great showman and a great fighter. It doesn't make all this stuff right.
I'm with you. Like, I saw Ronda Rousey tweet something and like, oh, great job promoting the fight and have the wherewithal to promote the fight while you were sitting there with your snapped ankle. I was like, he's pointing to this guy, like, saying, I'm going to shoot you in your sleep, you and your wife. And
she's cutting the same cloth.
Yes, I know.
People like that, you should expect it from that
right,
sort of character,
I do, but, like, this
I know you do.
Just, like, shows... Like, you can tell a lot about a person by, like, how they felt about that Conor McGregor post-fight promo. Like, if you thought this was, like, this great promo that hyping the fight, like, I don't know, man. Like, have some... Like you said, like, have something to stand on, actually. Because otherwise, like, normal days, you're probably trying to preach about shit and whatnot. But for some reason, Conor does it, and it's like, this is just great. It's him, hyping the fight. It's him being, getting mental warfare and everything. And it's like, nah, dude, like, this was just an asshole. And, like, he deserved to get his ass kicked for this. Like, don't threaten. Like, Dustin said it. Like, you can talk your shit and everything, but, like, don't threaten to kill somebody and all this shit. And that's when I knew, like, in the press, not the press conference, the weigh-ins, when he's like, I'm gonna murder this man tomorrow, like, I'm gonna literally kill him. I was like, dude, calm down. Like, Chael Sonnen would say that shit too, and it's like, calm down. Like,
and he's another guy that loads of guys fuck with. Like, I just find it so interesting, Jeremy. It's always been this way. Fighting sports, they are considered such lowest common denominator. That's correct, denominator. Yes, they are, Jeremy. They're so lowbrow that celebrities come out for them like they're these sort of, mud shows, Like, who gives a shit what he stands for? He's a fighter, right? And maybe that's the right way to do it, but don't preach to me about the actor or the singer or the whatever the fuck in that case, because I ain't listening to it. I think fighting is definitely some pro wrestling and it's showmanship and it's entertainment. You got to sell the fight. If you don't think there's like a level to that shit, the line to draw, I don't know. Maybe we should just let it run wild and like, well, good you sold the fight though, right? Like he said a load of awful things and was like threatening to kill him, but hey, man, that pay-per-view number, like, man.
That's what people look at though. Like they actually think this is gonna sell the fight and stuff. Dude, the next fight is going to sell just as big as this one, right? Like if they have a fourth fight, it's gonna sell just as big. Like my friend, and like he was joking, I think, probably not. But like when I was like, dude, he threatened to kill this man and his wife in his sleep, and he literally called his wife a hoe as they were walking out of the ring. And my friend was just like, I don't know about you, but if I see my neighbor telling my other neighbor he's gonna kill him in his sleep and he's calling his wife a hoe, I'll pay $50 to watch them fight. It's like people buy into this shit. Like, they really do.
There's no attempt to sell or promote fighters that don't do that shit, so you're stuck with that. It will never change. That's why, frankly, I can increasingly move away from it, because there is just no ability. Like all these, think pieces about, but is he a draw and all this stuff? It's like, listen, man, it's an interesting conversation, but like basically what you're saying is, do they play a pro wrestling character? Because if the answer is no, you're probably going to tell me they're not a draw, unless they're GSP, right? Who had that but he just connected, didn't he? But he would always do like big numbers. Like, I don't know. I didn't get fired up about it or any of that good stuff. All I'm going to say is I see it, it pops me, and it really makes me aware of just like how little I should give a shit about what any of these people think. Frankly, that's just where I'm at. But nonetheless, should we leave that there? He got his ass kicked, whatever, right?
What do we think? I mean, Poirier is gonna fight Oliveira now. I can't
Great
wait for
fight.
that. Yeah, I'm really pumped for that fight. You think Conor fights again?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know if he'll fight. The thing is it all depends. Like if Poirier beats Oliveira,
they're gonna give him a title shot.
Yeah, that's the thing is I'd like to think they wouldn't, but I know they would.
Yeah, 100% they are.
Has he actually? What was the last fight he had that won at lightweight? Was it Cerrone at welter?
I think Cerrone was at welterweight, so it'd be the Alvarez fight.
Legitimately, it would be like 6 years ago by the time that fight gets here.
Yeah,
that's outrageous. Yeah, whatever. I'll watch it, man. I'll watch the big fights. Like, I have fun with it, but I ain't just,
Yeah, Cerrone was at welterweight, so it would be the Alvarez fight.
Listen, Oliveira is a real fight for Dustin, man. Oliveira,
to
me, that's a 50-50 fight, And that's the sort of shit where, like, UFC needs to get off their ass and actually promote it, rather than just being like, this is UFC 264. Here are two names, Like, actually, like, try and evolve your ability to promote.
There's the stories of Poirier and Oliveira are so good, too.
Yes.
Like the fighting stories and the personal stories of both guys. Like, yeah, that's I'm pumped for that fight. People know I've been an Oliveira fan for like a decade now, when he was fighting Jim Miller and everything. And Poirier's story is just great. I said it in the preview piece, like, you actually look at his resume, like, I think it's better than Oliveira's. I mean, Oliveira's the champion, but dude, Poirier has like, he might be outside of Habib, like, I think he's the best lightweight fighter of this generation right now. So
no, I agree. Yeah, statistically they're both great though, right? Because both of them have so many UFC wins. Obviously Oliveira has more losses because he had such an up and down fighter, but no, it's a great one. It's a great fight. I think you're going to get Conor and Nate free at some point, because it's just
here's
this thing that happens, I think.
Yeah, I think they do Conor and Nate 3 at some point as well. My thinking, and I tweeted this, of like, if you like kind of want to protect Conor, give him a tune-up fight, right? Like, this dude, like, he's complained all the time, like, oh, I haven't had lack of activity. He's probably not going to fight again until the end of the year at the earliest, I would think, like December.
End of this year?
Yeah.
I think it'll be next year, I think.
So that's what I'm saying, like December at the earliest, and that's probably pushing it.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think that'll even be a thing. I think it's probably. I think it'll be next summer, to be honest.
All right, well, there you go. So like you're just gonna throw him back in there against Poirier or Nate with a year off, coming off this injury. He hasn't looked good in any fight since the Cerrone fight, which was 40 seconds. Like, it just seems like you're just throwing this guy to the wall. And fine, like, fuck him. Let him get his ass beat. But I feel like for him, you just want to take, like, a tune-up fight, right? And I get there's some risk in a tune-up fight. But, like, if you're still competent as a fighter and still have, like, something left to give, like, you can beat one of these kind of just, like, a Cerrone type, where it's a guy who's, like, just kind of past his prime and everything, and
here's the thing,
matches
right?
up.
So, if you look at the rankings, Tony Ferguson's the obvious one, because he's still 6th. That makes a lot of sense, because frankly, if Conor can't beat what Tony is now, then...
That's an
I mean, that's... Yeah, because, like, Tony's not a guy that has, like, great offensive wrestling, so they're basically going to stand up. Like, he should be able to hit Tony at will.
Yeah.
You know, like, he just should. But, like...
And Tony's going to get forward. Tony's going to come forward at him, too.
Exactly, right. And a lot of these guys underneath, like, I'm not familiar with all of them, but, like, they're the ones that I think in the UFC are so dangerous. Is boxing has a very, very firm hierarchy, which allows tune-up fights so easily. You know, like, you can really position... The UFC is the Wild West, and that's why I think a lot of these big stars avoid them, because if you lose them, man, you know, like, it's not a good look. I get the sense Conor's just going to fight big fights until the end, really. But Tony Ferguson does make a lot of sense, I think. That one's pretty logical.
See, I think
Tony's highly ranked somehow still.
Yeah, I think Tony as well. Cyclops better than Logan says Dos Anjos. But then he says what I'm thinking as well is, like, Dos Anjos probably just, like, fucking takes him down and grapples the shit out of him. And I don't know if Conor can actually stop that. Ferguson makes a lot of sense. And, like, that's the kind of guy you need to kind of throw him against, is like a guy who's just, he's washed, and you can give him Cerrone again. Like, Pettis was another one that I was kind of thinking. I don't know what Anthony Pettis is, like, actually up to. I think he's beaten Cerrone recently.
Yeah, he's really struggled though since leaving. He's
not even in the UFC anymore. I didn't realize.
Well, what's it called now? PFL.
Yeah.
He's lost both fights.
Yeah, he has. I'm looking at it now.
This is a thing that people don't get, like. And I was watching Condit on the weekend, and I was thinking to myself, like, some of these guys, they get in the UFC and they, like, fight this, like, league of veterans, and they're at the level, and they just sort of exist. They win one, lose one. And, like, when they lose, people think they're going to dominate, and actually, like, they've not been UFC level for some time.
Yeah.
I know Anthony Pettis knocked out Wonderboy, which is awesome. You know, that was an amazing moment. But, like, the truth is, man, like, Pettis may have been, he's been off that level for a long time. He just was Anthony Pettis, so no one really grasped because he was fighting other great fighters, if that makes sense. You know, like, we knew he dropped off, but we didn't realise he was going to go and lose 2 fights in the PFL. That's pretty crazy.
See, that's another, like, that's another one of, like, bring back Anthony Pettis to do that fight. Condit, I mean, he's 170, but, like, yeah, if you're not beating, like, this version of Carlos Condit, then
it's rough.
Yeah, something's probably wrong. Like, I think he should get a tune-up fight to that degree. And if he wins, like, great, he can get some ring time and everything. If he loses, like, it just basically shows that, like, lucky he ain't in there against Nate or Poirier, because they would have really fucked him up probably.
By the way, Carlos Condit, I was there when he fought Dan Hardy at the O2.
Love that fight.
That's the quietest I've ever heard an arena when he knocked out Dan Hardy. In my life, there was 20,000 people there, Jeremy. I have never heard such a silent arena as that. I was unlike anything I've experienced. And it was such a beautiful punch. Do you remember that left hook?
Oh, yeah, the left hook. They both hit at the same time. Mm-hmm. And, but Condit's was just, that's one of my... You know, I'm not a big fan of the Dan Hardy, so...
You're not?
No. Have we not had this discussion?
Was this when you got upset about, like, Marcus Davis?
Oh, yeah. I don't like Marcus Davis. I'm not really a fan of Dan Hardy either, honestly.
I think he's a good analyst, though, right?
He is.
I can see.
He is.
BT do some good MMA content, actually. They do good. I don't know if they do anything for wrestling. If they do, hire me, please. But, yeah. Reese says he watched his first full UFC card, and he tied 2 of us, so ruining Hardy was the best thing. Dude, I watched this with my dad, and he was like, this guy's a megastar. He couldn't believe how over tied 2 of us was. It popped me tremendously. Conor vs. Masvidal for BMF title is the ultimate. Dude, I think Jorge would beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I know Jorge got slept by, like, Usman, but he's a bad man.
Yeah.
He's a serious fighter, you know? Not that Conor. I'm not here to pretend Conor's like a clown. What I'm saying is like when you live the life he has, I would not particularly want to fight Jorge Masvidal any time in my life. You know? But there you go. AEW star Jorge Masvidal, by the way, member of the All Elite Fleet.
I think they'll end up giving him Nate. Like if Dustin's champion, they're gonna give him Dustin because that's just what they fucking do. But I think they're gonna end up giving him Nate on the fight back. But I just don't know if he's. You could talk yourself into it before the fight that he made proper changes and he was gonna come out different and this would be a different fight and everything. I mean, for about a minute and a half, it was. But again, man, when he got touched, he was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like him grappling, he don't want to be there. And like if he ain't that dude on the feet anymore, he definitely ain't that dude on the ground. Because I mean, Poirier is a good grappler and a good wrestler, but like he's not super high level in that area. And I mean, he was smashing him on the ground, absolutely smashing him.
He looked pretty hopeless off his back, to be honest.
Oh, he's always been hopeless. Like he was like just fishing for that guillotine, and
yeah, I kind of remembered him having like some sort of like guard game. I don't know. Remember when he did like a sweep on Diaz, where he did that very fancy sweep. I forget what it's called. He like hooked his legs and like I remember him. He was adding stuff, but now it feels like he's been stagnant so long. Like he had nothing off his back other than what you said. He was looking for the guillotine, which the second time he tried to get it was like the most desperate shit ever. Right? Like it was brutal.
The angle, like there was like a camera angle on the second one where it made it seem like it may have been close, but then they switched the angle and like his other arm wasn't even like hooked or anything. Like it was very bad. Yeah, the first one you could tell like I don't think it was that tight. It didn't seem like it. I mean, maybe once you're in there it's different, but it didn't seem like it was that much. Yeah, sucks. Not really. Fuck them.
Chat is fantasy booking Jorge Masvidal in AEW. Would you, if you were Tony Khan, allow Lance Archer to take a flying knee to the head in 5 seconds? Because you love the business. Just for the meme.
Just for the
I mean, he could kill him. I don't think there's a way to work a flying knee.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like
it would be ideal. It would not be good if he killed one of the professional wrestlers with a flying knee.
It wouldn't. What if we had Masvidal and Omega and they throw the knees at the same time and see what happens?
I think I have a pretty good idea what would happen. I think it would go well for our friend Kenneth.
I think that's what's gonna happen. That's my prediction.
Reese wants Luther to fight Masvidal.
Why do you want to do this to Luther?
Oh god.
It's our guy. I don't want to see Luther get killed.
Very bad. Yeah, it'd be very bad news. But nonetheless,
Luther would throw Serpentico in the way and just like throw him right into the knee. That's what Luther would do.
Oh my god, that would be very bad for Serpentico. He rules, by the way. He works so hard, dude. Serpentico. Like now that I watch some of those YouTube shows, he's a workhorse. That guy. He really does do a tremendous job. They are fun. They've got a nice dynamic. You know, they've got something that makes them stand out, which is hard to do in that division.
Right. They're a fun team. All right. You're looking forward to the team with the Acclaim tonight. I think I am Crackerjack, not the Pinnacle.
I don't know if I'm going to be awake, to be honest with you, mate. I'm so tired. Done so many goddamn professional wrestling articles. If I never watched another wrestling match in my life, I think I'd be content after that. I mean, it's outrageous. I'm just destroyed. You know, absolutely destroyed. I'm definitely not watching Dark Elevation to solve my give me my recovery. I'll give it a couple of days. I think. I don't think I'm going to watch anything till Dynamite. It's been a lot, Jeremy. It's been a lot.
That's fair. I'm not watching Raw tonight. Why would I? Seems like it's just going to be.
Oh, it'll be shit. Yeah, it's taped. There's no way it's a good show. I'm Crickerjet said, did anyone shit their pants in the crowd at UFC this weekend? I don't think so.
I don't know, dude. That Conor ankle snap, it would not shock me if someone did. A lot of Conor fans, too.
Don't start this again. This is brutal. It's one of the funniest bits ever. Will you ever do a watch-along for AEW Dark Elevation? I don't know if I will, man. Mondays we do a couple of hours. That's enough for me. I'm sure there's someone in the Fightful verse that will do it, my friend, but I'm probably not yet.
What are we going to do? We're going to do it live? Is that
what on here, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, but, do it live? I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's the live format's really hard. I enjoyed doing it for Impact because I like Joel and Jensen. Like, it was good talking to them, but it's like I feel like I'm not allowing people to watch the show. Like, it's kind of a weird vibe. It's actually a good show. I don't think it's a good format. If it's Impact, great format. But like,
Impact Slammiversary this weekend, Joseph.
In fairness, Dark Elevation will probably be the best show to do it for because it's just like a collection of weird matches, right? But like, as far as the A shows, I think it would be terrible. Because you have to either stop talking for every promo,
or just talk over the promo.
Yeah, or everyone's at different times. Like, this sync and shit. It's a nightmare. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a nightmare. Gail Kim's kind of promo, and I'm like, do I go? I can't actually hear Gail because I can't watch it on Twitch. So I'm just like looking at just moving mouse. It's very sad. Nonetheless, folks, in a mere 40 minutes, my first feature will drop. We're on British time. We're operating on British time. Midnight, first one drops. I don't know what it is. I've forgotten. I'm going to be honest with you. But there's 24 of the fuckers coming, so it's hard for me to remember what's actually in them or what they're about. There you go. 40 minutes. You wouldn't want to do a watch along with just regular Dark because you want that Taz Excalibur commentary. That's also very true. That is a very good point. That's what everyone loves most about Dark, right? The Taz and the Excalibur.
I guess.
Mike and Gather.
Sure.
Are you pumped for Bryan Danielson on Wednesday?
Is that this Wednesday?
That's what they said, right?
No, I don't think it's this Wednesday, Joseph. I think you have the days confused.
It might be. Yeah, it might be next Wednesday.
Yeah, I think it might be next Wednesday. Because, like, if it's this Wednesday, I mean, is he going to confront the Machine Gun Carl Anderson after winning the U.S. title? Is that what we're thinking? Oh, that's what Carl told you.
Yeah. Did you see his tweet on Saturday night?
Where he's going to hurt John Moxley?
Well, that one. There's one funny, isn't it?
Oh, what did he say?
Hey, I want to say before I read this that context. Carl was in Vegas this weekend.
Adam Cole?
Carl Anderson, the Machine Gun.
Oh, Carlin. Okay, Carl. I said Cole. Your accent threw me off.
Tweeted, who do you got? Dustin or Conor? Do you have children? Exactly. Grow up. Who gives a fuck? Shut up, fuck.
I did see that. I didn't know what he was talking about.
And Sean Rossett replied, who is winning, Carl? And he said, who's fighting? Now, I'm not an expert, and believe it or not, I'm not actually friends with the Machine Gun Carl Anderson, but my read on that is that he was in Vegas, and one person asked him who is winning, Dustin or Conor. He answered them, and then just sent a tweet in rage about how upset he was that someone would ask him in Las Vegas who's winning the biggest fight of the year. Oh, good bliss. I also saw that he just buries Michael Hayes on Twitter every week, which is very fun. Tremendous stuff. You gotta love it, folks. You gotta love it. I did see that show, I'm Crackerjack. That was getting lots of heat on Twitter, I noticed. Bryan Danielson, listen, folks, we can only tell you so much because we're insiders, but he's probably working Dark next week. Probably is.
I think he's wrestling Sean Dean on Dark, right?
I thought it was Lee Johnson.
No, they got bigger plans for Lee Johnson.
You know, that'd be like what Bryan would do, right? Just work a Dark tape and like. I've always been a fan of Luther in his death matches. You know, I just want to see. What about Colt Bauer? Danny Limelight, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Good on him.
Colt's he's going to go straight up the middle, Jeremy. 15 minutes from here.
That's the wrong person.
No, but I say it for every promotion that's not AEW, straight up the middle. I like the idea of like Billy sitting there and they're like, okay, what's our plan here? And he's like, straight up the middle. And I'm like, okay, but how are we going to do
I mean, that's what Bud tells Giannis, and it seems to work, so.
Indeed. And we got anything else to talk about on here?
No, I think we're good.
Incredibly tired.
Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, God.
3 p.m. Eastern. Booty Pro Wrestling media call before the series finale on Friday. I gotta make sure I can do the series finale on Friday.
So do I.
What do you have going on,
Friday.
Joseph?
I don't know. Friday recently we've been off, and I've tried it now. When you said that, it was like, oh dear, that's Friday. Okay.
I'm doing SP3's show at some point.
Saturday, I think that is.
Yeah, his show's Saturday. I couldn't remember if it was the 16th or the 17th. Yeah, I'm doing his
He's
show
getting over that kid, man.
on Saturday.
He's getting over.
SP3 rules. He needs to get over. He should get over.
Agreed.
Needs to get over.
He's actually good.
Yeah.
He's not one of these guys that. Because the thing about me, Jeremy, is I don't pretend that people are good. I actually tell them they're objectively shit. In SP3's case, he's actually good, so I say it as such. Actually good, no problem with that. Good friend of mine. He's on the Impact show this week too.
My God, is he?
He is. Yep. Indeed, all that good stuff. What are we talking about here? Yeah, I don't know, guys. Have fun. Enjoy
You buried somebody on Twitter this weekend that we were previously nice to.
I wasn't nice to him.
I mean, I blocked them a while ago. As a bit, and then not as a bit.
You know what, honestly, I didn't want to do this on air because I'd have to pretend I was joking, and I was not joking at all. So,
yeah, I know you were.
I know you know that, but I don't want this to devolve into some sort of friendly banter bit, you know? No friendly banter. Yeah. Have no fucking clue why that guy thought he was going to tweet me that at that time, and I was going to be like, ha! No clue.
I hate that shit, too.
It's cool. If we're friends, it's annoying.
Even if we're friends, it's annoying at best, right? Because when Dame hit that shot against OKC and waved and everything, Sean and Andrew were just giving me shit the whole next day, and I didn't want to come off I didn't want to be a dick about things and be like, oh guys, I'm really hurt by this, and can you knock it off? Because I get they were joking and whatnot. At the same time, I was like, this is just fucking annoying. Can you guys just not do this? And then if it comes from people who you're not on friendly terms with, it's all right, fuck off. I blocked somebody over somebody that was in my mentions who was go Vegas after one of the Avs games. I was like, all right, go fuck yourself. I don't know you that well.
No, look, I'm not going to say anymore because I'll get in trouble. But
we'll bury him off air.
Yeah, definitely. Fuck, my God, yeah, that's what we'll do.
All right, everybody. We got the BPW media call tomorrow at 3. Get ready. Booty, booty, booty rocking everywhere, Joseph. There we go. Who are we rating? We should rate only Impact's on. Joel Pearl, give me somebody to raid.
Do you know that Impact own the night?
I've heard that they own the night.
I learned that on Thursday.
Yeah. Did you
also,
sing the song?
Also, do you know that... I didn't. Do you know that Joel... I didn't hear the song. Okay. Do you know that Joel and Jensen called Big Cass, they call him Tej, because he's a combination Test and Edge?
No. I don't actually... when I'm on those streams, I don't actually pay attention to what they say.
I really enjoyed myself. I actually booked myself for the following week, and Joel was like, we actually have SP3, so we can do 4-man, but I was like, oh wow, you guys are And then I found out, Jeremy, that SP3 was supposed to do last week, and I was drafted in as a late replacement.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts. That's what
they just don't know. These people, here's the truth, okay, Jeremy. I'm tomorrow. I'm officially putting myself back in the game, okay? And I don't want to be slept on. I don't want to be ignored. I don't want to be told, well, one day, Joe, you're a young guy. I don't want to be told any of that, okay? I would like answers, okay? Tomorrow, I prove my point. I talk a lot of shit about a lot of people. But tomorrow, I make a statement that it speaks for itself, Because a lot of people, Jeremy, their work speaks for itself, and they're not saying very much, I mean, they're posting their sexy little clips and images and stuff, but they ain't actually got anything of substance to say or anything of worth to add to the game. I'm here to change that, brother. I'm tired of playing. I'm not sitting here and going one-on-one with these dipshits anymore, okay? Put me in, coach. I ain't playing with these dipshits. They suck.
What's Marty the Moth's gimmick? What is it? Somebody tell me.
At Robert O'Neill 31.
I don't think he's on Twitch.
Sorry to hear that.
Could you imagine if O'Neal
just solo shows?
Hey, it's just Martin. It's just Martin Cassis. Okay, we'll read
Hey
Martin.
guys, this was pretty good, guys.
Oh man. Well, corner 3, but it's an hour long. Did you see the show I had to do with him? Imagine that, but without me.
That was actually good. That was incredible.
It was, but I mean, can you imagine just O'Neal on his own? Be tough. You just run down. This team's good. It's a good match. Just like me while you're reviewing ROH. It's a good match. Seemed fine. All right. Y'all have a good night.